Hello, my beautiful babies, and welcome to WandaVision. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the first television series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe on Disney+.
Marvel produced a really great show right out of the gate.
I've been excited for WandaVision since it was announced in the before times of April 2019. I felt like this show was going to give Marvel the chance to really mine the rich histories of these characters and the really cool plot lines found in the comics. One of the things that I really love about this show is the fact that it is a show and it's not a movie. And so we've got 9 episodes to let these characters breathe. We really get to know them. Like, this show is character driven as opposed to the movies, which are more plot driven, where it's like you got to get to the thing to get to the thing, and then you got to stop the guy and blah, 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 you know, and that's fun. I love it, whatever. But like, I love Marvel characters and I want to have more time with them. I want to share in their sorrows. I want to share in their triumphs. I want to laugh with them. I want to cry with them. And that's what we got in this show. And chef's kiss. Totally loved it. Now, another thing, this is the thing that I'm most excited for in WandaVision, okay? The thing I'm most excited for is that we finally get to see Wanda Maximoff become more in line with her comic book counterpart. Because in the MCU, this character was nigh unrecognizable. Okay, I was like, what is this? And just to put it in perspective for you, we've waited 7 fucking years for someone to call Wanda Maximoff the Scarlet Witch and for someone to give this queen her fucking crown. Oh my God, but it was so worth the wait. It was so worth it. I loved it. It took a little while, but we're here and it's fucking great, okay? It's fucking great. And wow, that new costume is fucking sick, all right? I was so tired for basic, boring ass, shitty costumes. And this new one, wow, so much better. We're finally here. We made it, guys.
The Scarlet Witch looks so cool, Mom.
Hell yeah, she does, Beans. Elizabeth Olsen is fucking killing it in this show. Good for her. She looks amazing in all of the different costumes and all of the different looks across all of the different decades that is represented. I especially loved her in the glamour costume, which, by the way, is an Easter egg. Illusion and Glamour are 2 of the neighbors of Wanda and Vision in the 1985 Vision and the Scarlet Witch miniseries. And in it, we have our 2 lovebirds, and they quit the Avengers to go live as normal people in the suburbs of New Jersey, and hijinks ensue.
What kind of hijinks?
Like the magical birth of the twins, Tommy and Billy. I was really excited to see them. I was wondering if they were gonna do it, and then they did it. But like in the show, spoilers, in the comic books, these 2 children are also dissolved away, except in the comics, they're dissolved back into the satanic character named Mephisto. But then later, like, I guess they were also reincarnated and were born to human parents, each different sets of parents. And then later, after they grow up, they manifest superpowers and start, joining super teams. They go under the code names of Wiccan and Speed. And if you want more of the magical twins and their adventures, you should check out the Young Avengers. Personally, I'm a fan of the Young Avengers series by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. And speaking of Mephisto, I remember when the show was airing and I was on Twitter and like everybody was like trying to figure out who's gonna be the villain of the show. Who's the villain of the show? Is it Mephisto? Is it Mephisto? Is it Nightmare? No, it was fucking Agatha Harkness. And what a fantastic twist that was. And I was like kicking myself for not noticing that she was wearing a fucking cameo, okay? Like her little cameo pendant, because that's what Agatha wears in the comics. And I was just like, it was so fantastic. It was, what a treat. And also just want to say big ups to Kathryn Hahn. She totally ate this role. She was amazing. Her costume was fucking sick. And that theme song, holy shit.
I don't like that they gave her a rabbit instead of a black cat, though. Black cats matter, Mom.
Fair enough, although Agatha does end up eating her black cat Ebony in the comics. She murders her and, like, eats her. So.
Never mind. The bun can stay.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Beans. In the comics, Agatha is Wanda's teacher in the arcane arts, so it was good to see her in that role in this show, although it's in a twisted way. But if you think about it, you know, like in the show, in real life, your trolls can be some of your greatest teachers.
That's right. You gotta love your trolls.
Oh, no, trolls.
We're back, baby.
Oh, hey, what's up? We're talking about WandaVision today. What'd you guys think?
We hated it.
Oh, I fucking bet you did.
What did you like about the show, Mom?
Well, I'm excited for a grown-ass Monica Rambeau in the MCU. Teyonah Parris is a fantastic casting. I loved her. It was really cool seeing her get her superpowers. It was really exciting. And in the show, it's kind of vague as to what her powers are, but in the comics, she is able to transform into any form of electromagnetic energy, okay? And it'll be really interesting to see what code name she ends up going with. In the comics, she's had a lot of different names. We've had Pulsar, Photon, Spectrum.
Spectrum? Yeah, which fucking Spectrum?
Or Captain Marvel, okay? She was introduced in the Marvel comics as the second Captain Marvel, so that's pretty cool, and I'm sure we'll see her in the upcoming sequel to Captain Marvel. And if you're interested in reading more about Monica Rambeau, I highly recommend picking up Next Wave Agents of Hate. She is the team leader in this really goofy, bizarre, fun, satirical comic, and the baby MODOK alone is worth the price of admission, so check it out.
I really liked seeing Agent Wu from Ant-Man and Darcy from the Thor movies, even though the first two Thor movies kind of sucked.
Yeah, the first two Thor movies are trash, but man, they really turned it around in Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok. That's like my favorite MCU movie. And then I'm really looking forward to Thor Love and Thunder.
Jane Foster's looking jacked.
Yeah, she is.
Natalie Portman looks like a dude.
Disgusting. All right, whatever. Side note, can I just say that I really enjoyed seeing so many gorgeous people in their 30s and 40s in this show. Wow. Okay. And Paul Bettany, can you believe that he's pushing 50? Whoa. And speaking of Paul Bettany, wow, he did a great job with the Vision. As always, he's so good. And I wonder if Bettany had any idea when he signed on to play the voice of Jarvis in Iron Man 1 all the way back in 2008, that later on he would become a full-blown member of the Avengers and then later go on to star in his own television series and then get the best line in the whole fucking show. Wow.
My man's is looking good, getting paid, and playing a cool character.
Also, it was really great when they pulled the White Vision in from the comics. This incarnation of our favorite synthezoid comes from the 1989 Vision Quest comic, where he was dismantled by the government, later rebuilt, had his memories restored, but he had lost all of his color, all of his emotions, all of his personality, like, blah. So, I don't know, they did such a great job with it, and I'm really excited to see where he pops up next. I don't know what movie he'll be in.
I bet the costumers and makeup people hate this look. Yeah, like, can you imagine trying to keep this asshole from getting dirty and smudged all day?
And if you're looking for more weird, dark, suburban Vision stories, might I recommend to you The Vision by Tom King. In this 12-issue series, we have the Vision, and he's just like trying to be more normal, and so he decides to build himself a Vision wife and 2 Vision kids and move to the suburbs, and things do not go well for them there.
What else did you like?
Another thing I liked about WandaVision was all of the Easter eggs. There's so many. I especially enjoyed all of the commercial breaks. The commercials were so fantastic. They all had these references to things that happened in Wanda's life. My favorite one was the Lagos paper towels. That was very well done. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't understand the Yo Magic one. I don't fucking get it. But I was really excited to see the Nexus antidepressant one. Wow. You can bet your sweet ass that this particular reference is going to play into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's right, kids. WandaVision ties directly into the upcoming Doctor Strange sequel, with Scarlet Witch being a major player in the film. But will Wanda be Doctor Strange's student in the mystical arts, or will she be the friend turned foe who leads him into unleashing an unspeakable evil? Stay tuned until, like, March 2022.
Oh, I can't wait this long. This sucks.
Excuse me, who has time for this shit?
Yeah, this is totally
Quit interrupting Mom.
You gotta be fucking
Be gone, thoughts.
minds.
All right, where were we? Anyways, I'm pumped for my boy Sam Raimi to be directing this movie. Oh my God, I'm such a fan. I hope we get really weird. I hope we have some fun, like, horror comedy elements. I hope it gets, like, dark. I hope it gets gory. You know me. I love Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Darkman. Spider-Man 2 is a perfect film. Fuck you if you don't think so.
Okay, so what's some things you didn't like about the show?
Well, I didn't like seeing Evan Peters as Quicksilver as Ralph Boner. Like, what the fuck was that shit? Okay, first of all, I don't want to see any of the Foxmen stinking up the MCU, all right?
Hey, what about Deadpool?
Deadpool can stay. Everybody else, gotta go.
But what if Ralph Boner is a fake identity and it really is Quicksilver from the Foxman universe, just in witness protection?
I don't buy that, because in the Foxman universe, he was that age in the 80s, so if he was in this continuity, he would be like 30 years older, so, like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well, what else didn't you like?
Another thing that I didn't like about this was the fact that this was just some big, giant mutant cock tease that went nowhere, okay? I'm over here, I've been, where are the X-Men? Where are the X-Men? Okay, I want the X-Men in the MCU. We don't have them. This wasn't it. They keep trying to make the Eternals happen. It's not gonna happen. Nobody gave a fuck about the Inhumans, okay? Where are the X-Men? Where are the X-Men?
Calm down, Mom, jeez.
Speaking of the X-Men, I just want to point out that the MCU's Wanda Maximoff is just straight up Jean Grey. Telepathy and telekinesis were never Wanda's things. Those were Jean's powers. This is just going to confuse people, because when they finally do introduce the X-Men, we finally do get Jean Grey, they're going to be like, oh, here's another redhead who dates a weird stiff guy and also acquires godlike powers. Like they already did it. Like what the fuck is left for Jean? Initially, in the 1960s, her powers were vaguely described as hex powers, where she could alter the probability of events in such a way that shit would kind of work out in her favor. Later, they explained her powers as she was manipulating something called chaos magic.
Embrace the chaos.
Embrace the chaos. And then later that was retconned, and they were like, oh no, she's doing a reality warping thing instead. So I just want to reiterate that in the comics, Wanda's powers were never telepathy and never telekinesis. That was always Jean's thing, period.
Period. Anything else that sucked?
Yeah, Beans, I'll tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like the comic book shame in the Halloween episode, okay? I am sick and tired of these live action characters making fun of their comics characters' costumes. Like, oh, look how silly our costumes are. Hey, dipshit, these costumes were graphically designed for the printed page for two-dimensional characters. And you know what? It looks great, okay? I look fucking great. These costumes are wonderful. And frankly, I think that it's rude to be making fun of shit that's currently making you billions of dollars, okay? And like, honestly, I still can't get over that line in the X-Men films where they were like, oh, what do you think we should be wearing? Fucking yellow spandex? Like, oh, we wear black leather. Like, oh my God, it was so stupid.
Wait a minute. What's going on? Where are we? What episode is this?
I don't know. My head hurts. I don't remember who I am. I'm kind of scared, man. This is like freaking me out.
Yeah, man, something's really wrong. It's fucking really wrong, okay? This is called the Comic Book Girl 19 show, like not this Danika XIX crap. And who the fuck is Beans the cat?
Yeah, I don't know. What happened to that robot retard in space fag?
They're gone, and they're never coming back.
Oh my god.
You can't control me the way you do him!
Can't I?
Oh my god.
You're like a real fucking witch, man! I don't know what the fuck is going on!
Speaking of witches, now let's take a moment to discuss some of the things in the show that pinged my occult radar. The opinions, beliefs, and viewpoints expressed here are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the intentions of Disney Corp and are not intended to malign the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't believe that any of this was consciously written into the show, and that the connections I've made are a coincidence, or as I like to call it, a synchronicity.
What's a synchronicity, Mom?
Well, a synchronicity is when you notice a meaningful connection between two separate, different events or things that are seemingly unrelated but feel related. Like, for example, when you are thinking of somebody and then they call you on the phone. Or like when you're living through a worldwide apocalyptic event and then you're watching the most popular show on the planet and then you notice this correlation between the main character on the show and a figure featured prominently in the book of Revelations, which is a biblical chapter, a prophetic chapter about end times.
End times?
End times. Trolls, will you please come back and read Revelations chapter 17, verse 3 through 5.
And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names and blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations on earth.
All right, thank you, Trolls. That was great. Now, this passage had a huge influence on Aleister Crowley, the infamous occultist, ceremonial magician, and founder of the religion of Thelema. Now, one of the divine deities that Thelemites worship is Babalon, aka the Scarlet Woman, aka the Great Mother.
Oh, wow. And how do Thelemites worship Babalon, Mom?
Followers or adepts on the path of Thelema set themselves on a spiritual journey, and on this mystical quest, they must cross what is called the abyss, a great void of nothingness, an in-between place that straddles perceived manifest reality and the pure source energy beyond physical existence that is the true formless form of the material universe. While traveling the abyss, one will be tested by the dweller in the void, a demon named Coranzon, who will try to trap you in a world of illusion and keep you from the Scarlet Woman, who is just on the other side of this place that is not a place. And if one is able to cross the abyss without being trapped and get to the other side, then they must give themselves fully to Babalon, and then they will be reborn as a master. Now, Babalon is considered a sacred whore because she denies no one, yet exacts a great price: the blood or ego identity of the earthly individual. Now, Crowley identifies the Scarlet Woman with the Sephiroth of Bina.
Sephiroth?
Not that Sephiroth, this Sephiroth.
Are you tired of sleepwalking through an existence you can never fully comprehend? Want to evolve and connect to the all-encompassing awareness of the real you? Try the Qabalistic Tree of Life! Developed by ancient Jews, the Tree of Life is a convenient pictogram that helps people who study it find the connections between anything and everything in an effort to dissolve the illusion of separation and to realize the inherent oneness of creation. Designed to break your faulty powers of perception through study and thought, the Qabalistic Tree of Life will eventually force you to surrender to transcendent consciousness. Supplies are limited. Order yours today from DanikaXIX.BigCartel.com. Beginner's Manual, The Chicken Kabbalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford by Lon Milo Doquette, sold separately.
So adepts go from here to here. Now, Bina represents divine understanding. And how does one achieve this highest level of understanding? Well, one must spiritually experience the vision of sorrow.
Oh, that sounds scary.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What's so great about sorrow?
Well, as my friend Babalon put it, the thing about sorrow is when you transcend the ego, there's no longer any difference between another's pain and your pain. You are commingled in the cup of Babalon. So understanding is sorrow because you no longer have the privilege of isolating yourself from the big picture. And as Gareth Knight writes in his chapter on Bina in the Practical Guide to Kabbalistic Symbolism, grief is a purgative and strongly disruptive force. It gives place to a deep lassitude and feelings of emptiness which can act as a purifying basis for new growth. People are so made that they will not or cannot realize a thing fully unless they are hit in the most vital part in some deep emotional sense. And only by sorrow, and by going from sorrow to sorrow, can an individual's evolution proceed. And this spiritual journey perfectly mirrors Wanda's arc in the show. After the events of Endgame, Wanda Maximoff is drowning in the abyss of grief. She's been orphaned by war. She lost her brother fighting Ultron. Then she loses her lover, and he's killed twice right in front of her. Once she has to do it, that sucked. And then the second time, she has to watch Big Purple rip the stone out of his head. And her sorrow is so great that she experiences a mental breakdown that allows her to tap into previously unknown power and spontaneously create a meta-reality bubble, resurrecting the Vision from scratch, builds their dream home, gives the entire surrounding town a makeover, and forces the city's inhabitants into bit parts and puppets them while she plays house a la sitcom fantasy, where she lives the life that she didn't get. She marries the Vision and gives birth to their twins. Now, this event is so huge and so anomalous that it attracts a powerful witch, Agatha Harkness, who enters into the Hex in the role of the nosy next-door neighbor in order to gain knowledge of how this incredible spell is being pulled off, and then also to gain this power for herself. Now, I see Agatha as a stand-in for Corazon. She, in another sense, represents the adept's personality or ego identity who will say or do anything in order to avoid being destroyed. And as we've seen earlier in life, Agatha, rather than face punishment for her crimes, decided to suck the life out of all of the women in her coven, including her own mother. And now she's become this vampiric black magician who offers Wanda a choice. Give up your power to me, and in exchange, I will keep your little hex bubble illusion intact, and you can live here forever with your false family.
It's pretty fucked up that Wanda accidentally took an entire town hostage and forced them to play act in her fake life against their will while unknowingly projecting her sorrow onto all of them in their sleep at night.
Exactly. And Wanda can no longer feign ignorance at all the pain she is causing all of these people with her illusion, and decides to put an end to both Agatha and the Hex. She renders Agatha's power useless when she uses Agatha's knowledge against her and goes on to accept the mantle of the Scarlet Witch, aka the Scarlet Woman, or the deity that presides over Bina. She faces her grief and willingly offers up all that she has. She sacrifices her home, her husband, her 2 children, and is then reborn a master with powers greater than that of the Sorcerer Supreme.
That's really sad. If it was me, I would have killed Agatha though, but I'm a cat. I don't have morals.
It's interesting to me that Wanda didn't kill Agatha, but rather kept her alive so that she could continue to learn from her. Lesson being that we can learn a lot from our egos. It isn't something that's evil, it's just something that's scared. And so by watching and listening to it, we can learn to subdue it so that it doesn't control our power, and then we can make it our next door neighbor and continue to consult with it at our leisure. And fun fact, Babalon isn't the only face of Bina. This sphere represents all the great mother archetypes, including Mother Mary, who experienced a virgin birth, like Wanda, and also the Egyptian goddess Isis, who, get this, put her dismembered dead husband's corpse back together, briefly revives him with magic so that she can conceive their child, but in the end, he is not allowed to return to the land of the living, and so he becomes a god of the dead and rules in the afterlife. And I also find it interesting that the one person in this series who has this understanding and compassion for Wanda is Monica, a black woman, black being the color of the sphere of Bina, who empathizes with her, knowing that Wanda's pain mirrors her own grief over the death of her mother.
Did you find any other occult connections, Mom?
I sure did, Beans. I couldn't help but notice some tarot tie-ins. First of all, we got Agatha over here looking a lot like the devil card, number 15. And then she's over here telling Wanda, it's your destiny to destroy the world. And then Wanda's over here tearing her reality bubble apart, which fits perfectly with the next card in the series, number 16, the Tower, which is a card that represents things like powerful personal transformation, sudden upheavals, massive change, awakening, and revelation.
Revelation!
And I'm over here like, oh my God, not only am I watching this on television, I feel like I'm living it. And that isn't to say the end of the world that we are witnessing is a bad thing, although it certainly is sad and it's okay to feel upset and scared. Change is scary, but what goes up must come down before going back up in order to make room for new growth. Old archaic systems and ideas that are just bloated, they must be destroyed. It's kind of like when you raise a field before planting anew. The old ideas die and decay and they become fertilizer for the next crop. When many of us imagine an apocalypse, we think of this literal extinction event where everybody dies. But what if it isn't a physical death, but an ideological one? If you look at the word apocalypse, it comes from the Greek apokalypsis, which roughly translates to unveiling or revelation. And what is a revelation but a previously ignored truth persevering in a very surprising and dramatic fashion? It's kind of like when a light goes off in your brain and you have this new idea that shifts your entire perspective. And if you're interested in reading a comic that beautifully illustrates the idea of a Scarlet Woman presiding over an ideological apocalypse, as well as taking a trip through the Qabalistic spheres, then I highly recommend checking out Alan Moore and J.H. William III's Promethea, books 1 through 5. You will not be disappointed. Yeah. So all in all, wow. I really loved WandaVision. This was such a fun show. Obviously, I got a lot out of it, and I can't wait to see our Scarlet Woman and our Vision in White in the future. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's so good to be back, and don't forget to ride the wave, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell.
If you like this video, you can support this channel at patreon.com/DanikaXIX, where you can see behind-the-scenes photos, get updates, receive discounts on merch, and see naked pictures of my mom. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at DanikaXIX, and pick up a Tree of Life poster that my mom painted on DanikaXIX.bigcartel.com.
Is the episode over yet? Can I take off this stupid shirt? I would never fucking wear this.
Yeah, man, how's your head?
Oh, I feel like I got hit by a bus.
Look, man, I don't know who this new Danika person is or where she got these witch powers, but we gotta fight this, and I got a plan. We have to use the magic in the next episode and find some answers.
Man, what the fuck are you talking about?
In the next episode, she's doing a book report that nobody asked for on a 1,200-page experimental supernatural fiction novel, Jerusalem